Okay, Boker Tov, good morning. As we just agreed, so Bezrat Hashem on Parashat Bo, we have a year of finishing a year of discussing the Midrash, and in order to bring other people and to change the topic, we might change it into halachic and ashkafic contemporary issues from the Parsha. So if anybody listens to these recordings and wants to join, that's time. And basically we'll go on with Wednesday 9:40. But if somebody joins and wants a different time, so we might be able to change it. Yeah. We're not promising, but we'll do it. Okay, let's start Sefer Shemot. We have a new Sefer and a totally different book. Yes, we're not talking about stories anymore. We're going from the good atmosphere, actually, in Sefer Bereshit, even though with the Mechira of Yosef, we have a nice story with Yosef, how he success by the Mitzrayim. And here we come to the agony of the Shiur, and everything is bad, everything is dark. So, ואלה שמות בני ישראל הבאים מצרימה, את יעקב איש וביתו באו. The Midrash, as well as a lot of מפרשים, paid attention a lot to the opening posuk of the Sefer, to the Ele Shemot, numbers or, no, sorry, numbers is, to the names of Bnei Israel, whereas the Hasidut, Sfat Emet, and others discuss at length the Chashivut, the significance of names, and how when you're a slave you need your name, you need not to be a number, etc. But the Midrash discusses it primarily. So let's see. ואלה שמות בני ישראל הבאים מצרימה את יעקב איש וביתו באו. The Midrash says, הדאו דכתיב, חוסך שבטו, שונא בנו, ואוהבו שחרו מוסר. So Shlomo HaMelech in Mishlei Yud Gimel says that if a person saves his shevet, his power, from hitting his son, not in the 21st century, but till many years, it was relevant to hit your son in order to educate him. So when you love him, so you either punish him or hit him or teach him, give him a shmuz, whatever. בנוהג שבעולם, אדם שאומר לחברו, לא נהיקה לבנך, יורד עמו עד בחייו. So if somebody tells me that this person has hit your son, I'll hate him, I'll make him a lot of problems. ומה תלמוד לומר חוסך שבטו שונא בנו? According to Mishlei, it's good. I have to thank him, to tell him, oh good, you've hit my son, you've educated him. Okay. ללמדך שכל המונע בנו מן המרדות, סוף בא לתרבות רעה ושונאו. So the Midrash doesn't answer actually, but the Midrash says that from the Pasuk in Mishnah we see explicitly that if you prevent from hitting your son at all, so at the end of the day he learns that he doesn't have any burden of anything, and at the end of the day he'll be a listim, he'll be a bad person, and you'll hate him or he'll hate you. We know that from the beginning of Sefer Melachim. Actually it was almost the Haftarah of last week. Last week Haftarah was Sefer Melachim Perek Bet, but Perek Aleph we have the story that David is getting old, and his son Adoniyahu tries to take over the kingdom because Shlomo is young, because he doesn't see that David does any effort to coronate Shlomo. But the Pasuk says, "Velo atzavo aviv miyamav," that his father David has prevented him from any agony. Doesn't say hitting, but not only hitting. It just told him, "You're nice, you're cute, you're sweet." He never said anything bad to him, and therefore he got into such a spoiled son, and at the end he died actually out of his trial to make a rebellion. So here we see furthermore שכן מצינו בישמעאל, שהיו לו געגועים על אברהם אביו. So there was a קשר between Ishmael and Abraham. We see that when הקדוש ברוך הוא tells him, אל ירע בעיניך על הנער ועל אמתך, so Abraham is very sad in the urge to expel Ishmael. ולא רדאו, but he had a קשר with him, and even though he didn't give him some flicks, some hits, ויצא לתרבות רעה, ושנאו, והוציא מביתו ריקה. So at the end of the day, he becomes bad, he becomes מצחק, he becomes bad to the environment, to Yitzchak, and therefore Sarah had to expel him, and therefore Avraham had to listen to her. So what was bad? What's better? The Midrash doesn't say that eating is good, but the Midrash wants to show you that objectively, at the end of the day, you do worse than that if you don't eat. Because if you eat him, you wouldn't have to expel him without food, almost to death in the desert. מה עשה ישמעאל כשהיה בן 15 שנה? So
what does v'sonehu mean? Who hates whom?
It's not clear, but from here you see that the father hates the son at the end.
That's what.
Okay, but it's not clear. It might be you can interpret it otherwise. That Ishmael hates Abraham. It's not clear. Not here and not here. Okay, it's not here. Not clear yet. מה עשה ישמעאל כשהיה בן 15 שנה? So according to the Midrash, Ishmael did the מצחק when he was 15 שנה. So how old was Yitzchak? Yitzchak was just a year, okay? Because the difference between them was 14 years. Ishmael was born when Avraham was 86, and Yitzchak was born at the age of 100. התחיל להביא צלם מן השוק, והיה מצחק בו ועובדו כמו שראה מאחרים. So the מצחק here, according to the Midrash, is just עבודה זרה, not גילוי עריות. מיד ותרא שרה את בן הגר המצרית אשר ילדה לאברהם מצחק, אין מצחק אלא עבודת כוכבים. מה דעת אמרת ויקומו לצחק, we'll see in פרשת כי תישא, לצחק in חטא העגל, meaning עבודה זרה, even though that even there are פירושים about עריות, אוקיי? מיד ותאמר לאברהם, גרש האמה הזאת ועדנה, שמא ילמד בני אורחותיו, מיד וירא הדבר מאוד בני אברהם, על שיצא לתרבות רעה. Okay, so again, as I said before, if you don't hit, you expel. So at the end of the day, objectively, it's better to you to do less, to hit. Okay? שם, ויאמר אלוקים על אברהם, אני ירא בעיניך אל הנער ועל אמתך. The Midrash goes to a secondary issue. מכאן אתה למד, Rashi brings it on the spot, שהיה אברהם תפל לשרה בנביאות. אברהם was secondary in his נביאות to Sarah. You know, the Gemara in Megillah says that there were just 7 neviot and a lot of neviim, and the Gemara said that the numbers are millions of neviim, but we don't count just those whose nevuah was nitzrecha ledorot, okay, nitzrecha for the future. Okay, so here we see that Sarah, the first neviah that we saw there, was bigger and better than Avraham. מיד, וישכם אברהם בבוקר, ויקח לחם וחמת מים, ללמדך, שהיה שונא לישמעאל. Here you see, okay, now you have an answer to your question from before, who hated who? אברהם hated ישמעאל, על שיצא לתרבות רעה, ושלחו הוא ואימו הגר ריקם, וטרדו מביתו על כך. So all the מפרשים in Parshat, where is it, in Vayera, discuss how Abraham could make it, even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu told him. And also, if you look in Rashar Hirsch there, he explained that Abraham gave him enough food, but out of a mistake, Hagar was wandering on the way, and she lost her way, and it took her much more. And therefore, it was just a mistake that she was left with her son without food. But according to the Midrash, Abraham did it explicitly. And Abraham did it deliberately. He knew that they want her food and he didn't care because he was so angry on Ishmael זה שיצא לתרבות רעה. וכי תעלה על דעתך שאברהם שכתוב בו ואברהם כבד מאוד במקנה היה משלח את אשתו ובנו מביתו ריקם ולא כסות ולא מחיה? How is it possible even הקדוש ברוך הוא had told him he wouldn't have done that? But אלא ללמדך כיוון שיצא לתרבות רעה לא נפנה עליו. And it's an interesting attitude because we know if you didn't see that it would look very strange to you because you know that Abraham is so mekarev people and he's not angry at Sodom and he asks for the pardon of Sodom and he doesn't care that they make so many chataim, etc. And here we see, we know that Abraham wasn't so lenient with Lot as he was with Sodom. We see that when there was a quarrel between Ro'ei Abraham and Ro'ei Lot, Abraham makes a separation, and he doesn't care. Here you see even more than that, that when Abraham is angry at somebody from the house, he expels him he doesn't have any heart. Since he was יצא לתרבות רעה, Abraham cannot bury it, and he expels him without anything. That's the attitude of the Midrash.
But he seems to be blaming also Hagar. He's treating her this way.
Right.
He's treating why?
Not clear from this Midrash. I would say that Hagar is very clear that she יצאה לתרבות רעה. Okay, זה all the chidush that the Midrash says here about his son, but I've no.
Yeah, I will say he's taking it out on her. Why not on himself?
No, not clear. The Midrash here just discusses
it's like he didn't fulfill, like Abram didn't fulfill his own responsibility, and he's taking it out on her.
Right. It's a good material, to a lot of drashot because mamash, it's a strange midrash. It's a very clear midrash. You cannot say the midrash is very clear. There is no other interpretation, but the midrash discusses just Ishmael and discusses Abraham as a very extremist or a very, he has a clear shita, and once you cross the line, you're kicked away. It's not what we usually think or expect from Abraham, but that's what it is. But the Midrash wants to bring it, כיוון שיצא לתרבות רעה לא נפנה עליו. מה היה סופו? כשגרשו ישב בפרשת דרכים והיה מלסתם את הבריות שנאמר והוא יהיה פרא אדם. It's interesting because the pshat is that הקדוש ברוך הוא tells him, I know the future he'll be a פרא אדם. But according to the Midrash, that was an outcome of the Gerush, and that was an outcome of not hitting, not educating him. Let's think of had Abraham educated Ishmael by hitting him, we would have had a different history. We wouldn't have had Ishmael as a פרא אדם, and maybe it was an educated nation, I don't know. כיוצא בו, ויאהב יצחק את עשיו, that's easier because that's what we know and have expected. ויאהב יצחק את עשיו, so as we see in Parshat תולדות, Yitzchak loves Esav too much to what we expect, to what we would think. לפיכך יצא לתרבות רעה על אשר לא רדהו. Yitzchak is not the person to be roided, to hit. So we can understand the criticism of the Midrash. It's more natural to a weak person as Yitzchak is, to Abraham, who is very aggressive, who is chesed, who knows how to be active. We can understand the criticism because he should have hit him. כמו ששנינו, 5 עבירות, it's a famous midrash, Rashi brought it in on Toldot at the beginning. 5 עבירות עבר עשיו הרשע באותו יום. According to אותו יום was the day of the burial of Abraham. אוקיי? בעל נערה המאורסה, אוקיי? והרג את הנפש, so we have arayas, we have שפיכות דמים, וכפר בתחיית המתים, that's sort of עבודה זרה, because he says, הנה אנוכי הולך למות, so what? Okay, you'll really leave? No, there is no תחיית המתים. כפר בעיקר, וביזה את הבכורה. Okay? It's interesting, לבזות את הבכורה, it's an issue. Okay? You might think that it's a bad midah, it's a bad virtue, but not isu, not an avera. Here, the Midrash counts it like a separate avera, לבזות את הבכורה. Interesting. ועוד, שתאב מיתת אביו, he was eager that his father would die, וביקש להרוג את אחיו. Actually, it's interesting because the Midrash, when he is against you, he can turn all the psukim against you. I would say that it was very nice, and we see in other Midrashim that he had the kibud orim, that's a part of the kibud orim. He doesn't want to kill Yaakov now because I'll wait till my father dies, but here the Midrash says the contrary. וגרם ליעקב לברוח מאבותיו, והלך חפרו אצל ישמעאל, that's the end of the parasha, ללמוד ממנו תרבות רעה, ולהוסיף על נשיו, שנאמר, וילך עשיו עד ישמעאל. אוקיי, כיוצא בו דוד, that's easier, שלא ייסר, he hasn't tortured, or he hasn't educated, that's a better translation, לאבשלום בנו, ולא רדאו, יצא לתרבות רעה, אבשלום is very explicit, הוא ביקש להרוג את אביו, he almost ran after him to the desert and killed him unless he was given the עצה, okay, not to do it, that saved David, ושכב עם פילגשיו לעיני כל ישראל, וגרם לו ללך יחף, והוא בוכה, we see that David was going without shoes. It's amazing how significant it's to the Midrash. Okay, he lost his kingdom, he escaped from Yerushalayim, ran to the desert, but the Midrash sees that the symptom of going without shoes, like an ovel, was very extreme experience to David HaMelech. Like, the Melech and Avel are totally two different things, and we can see it from many things, that the Melech sits on a chair, Avel sits on the floor, the Melech has a crown, the Melech has a bgadim, and the Avel has bgadim kuim, and walking without shoes is the opposite of being a king. That's כנראה what why the Midrash stresses out this fact. והוא בוכה, ונפלו מישראל כמה אלפים וכמה רבבות, because there was a big battle in יער אפרים, where Shalom rode on a donkey and was caught with his hair on the tree, wherever, and Yoav made there a battle and killed a lot of thousands of people of עם ישראל, וגרם לו דברים קשים הרבה שאין להם סוף. Here you see מזמור לדוד, it's an interesting, the Midrash here uses a פרק in תהילים where David talks about his agony, בבורחו מפני אבשלום בנו, מה כתיב אחריו, השם מה רבו צרי. So it's not that David just complained. Probably he had a lot of other issues because of Absalom. We can see it at the end of Mered Absalom, when David succeeds in coming back to Yerushalayim, we have Sheva ben Bichri. Sheva ben Bichri says, מה לנו בבן ישי, איש לאוהליך ישראל. So we see there's a crumbling, the התפוררות in Hebrew, of how it became crumbs, his kingdom, and how, one leitzan like Avshalom that makes a rebellion, it's not the problem with Avshalom, it's a major problem, because then it takes you years to לחזק את המלכות, okay? מה כתיב אחריו? השם מה רבו צרי, so he has a lot of enemies, וקשה תרבות רעה בתוך ביתו של אדם, ממלחמת גוג ומגוג. ואילו במלחמת גוג ומגוג כתיב, it's the adjacent פרק, תהילים פרק ב', למה רגשו גויים, אוקיי? זאת אומרת, זה גויים, my enemies just started talking, thinking badly about me. And here, להלן כתיב השם מרבות שרי. So I have not just one, I have a lot, and I have, in fact, not just רגשו, not just said something. Now, in fact, I have a lot of enemies. So
why does it say Mizmor LeDavid?
That's the Gemara asks it about a different parak. About Avshalom, it's a question. I don't remember.
Avshalom.
Right. There are a lot of Mizmorim that David says Mizmor, and the content is very sad. And you can ask the same thing.
The Gemara asks usually a question. Mizmor?
Right. But the Gemara asks about, I think, Perek Nun Aleph, the Perek of Shaul. I don't remember that the Gemara asks about this Perek. Don't remember. Cannot tell you. I don't know. Okay. Let's see. מה רבו וקשה תרבות של אדם וכולי וכולי. אוקיי. וכיוצא בו, now the Midrash comes to Adoniah, okay, because that at the end of David's life, שלא רדאו בייסורים ולא גער בו, לפיכך יצא לתרבות רעה, דכתיב, ולא עצבו אביו מימיו. His father has never saddened him. ואותו ילדה אחרי אבשלום, okay? So the Pasuk says that explicitly that Adoniah was born after Avshalom, but the Midrash asks, how is it possible? והלא אבשלום בן מעכה ואדוניהו בן חגית, okay? And okay, so Chagit is probably an older wife of David, and I don't remember the seder between them, but apparently the Midrash understands that Adoniyahu must have been older than Avshalom. מהו ואותו ילדה אחרי אבשלום, אלא מתוך שיצא לתרבות רעה ולא רדאו אביו, וכתיב באדוניהו ולא עצבו אביו מימיו, אף הוא יצא לתרבות רעה. So Adoniyahu takes after Avshalom, okay? He wasn't born after Avshalom, but he imitates him. He looks after him because he has the same problem that his father's never saddened him, and therefore he thinks that everything is permitted. לפיכך כתיב באותו ילדה אבשלום אחרי אבשלום. Okay, so how is it related to our parsha? ואוהבו שחרו מוסר. Okay, so if you like or love your son, you should teach him, you should give him shmuz. זה הקדוש ברוך הוא. שאהב את ישראל, דכתיב, אהבתי אתכם אמר השם, ואמרתם במה אהבתנו, שהוא מרבה אותן בייסורים. Okay, so הקדוש ברוך הוא gives us 3 good מתנות. It's a Gemara in ברכות, the beginning of ברכות, דף ה'. אתה מוצא 3 מתנות טובות. נתן הקדוש ברוך הוא לישראל, וכולם לא נתנם להם אלא על ידי ייסורים. So 3 gifts, 3 presents, עם ישראל is given, and all of them by tortures. התורה וארץ ישראל וחיי העולם הבא. התורה דכתיב, אשרי הגבר, אשר תייסרנו יה, ומתורתך תלמדנו. So it doesn't have to mean tortures, physical tortures, but amal Torah. It's difficult to learn Torah. You cannot sit here like this and learn. You have to be active, and all the body has to work. ומתורתך תלמדנו. ארץ ישראל, דכתיב, וידעת עם לבביך, כי השם אלוקיך, מה כתיב אחריו? כי השם אלוקיך מביאך אל ארץ נחלי מים. העולם הבא, דכתיב, כנר מצווה, ותורה אור. So that's interesting. I think that the Gemara doesn't bring this pasuk in brachot, I'm not sure. But it's interesting how you can learn עולם הבא from this pasuk, כנר מצווה ותורה אור. Ora, it might be a pasuk about Torah, about mitzvot, not about the עולם הבא. In any case, לא משנה, 3 המתנות האלה, all these 3 gifts were given just with איסורים. וכל המייסר את בנו, מוסיף הבן אהבה על אביו ומכבדו, שנאמר, יסר בנך וינחך. Okay, so if you torture him, he would appreciate it, he would honor you. ואומר יסר בנך, כי יש תקווה, הוא מוסיף עליו אוהבה, שנאמר ואוהבו שחרו מוסר, לפי ששחרו מוסר לכך אוהבו. So the pasuk says not only that if you love him, so you should give him a shmuz, he learns it from the other way. If you give him a shmuz, you love him, okay? אתה מוצא שאברהם ייסר את יצחק בנו ולימדו תורה. So now the midrash goes back to Avraham, and from here you can see that the criticism the midrash had before about Avraham is not just extreme, but Avraham had both. It depends good too. Avraham was good to Yitzchak and was bad, had bad education to Ishmael, because of which he lost Ishmael, but he earned Yitzchak. So אתה מוצא שאברהם ייסר את יצחק בנו ולימדו תורה והדריכו בדרכיו, וכתיב עקב אשר שמע אברהם בקולי. Okay, so basically עקב אשר שמע אברהם בקולי is to all the חוקים that I have said, but the midrash understand עקב אשר שמע אברהם בקולי, he listened to the pasuk in Mishlei, and he listened to ואוהבו שחרו מוסר. He listened to let Yitzchak work hardly in order to gain Torah. וכתיב ואלה תולדות יצחק בן אברהם, ללמדך שהיה דומה לאביו בכל דבר, נוי, בחוכמה, בעושר, במעשים טובים. כן ידע לך שבין 37 שנה היה כשעקדו אביו, that's a famous midrash, one of the midrashim, that יצחק was in the Akedah 37, Rashi brings it, כשעקדו אביו, וכתיב ואברהם זקן, בא בימים, ועקדו וכפתו כסה ולא נמנע, שנאמר ויתן אברהם את כל אשר לו ליצחק, הוי, ואומר ואוהבו שחור מוסר. So it's interesting, how can we know that Abraham taught Yitzchak well? Because we see in the Akedah that he tied him and like a say, like a sheep, and Yitzchak doesn't say anything. וילכו שניהם יחדיו, וילכו שניהם יחדיו, we can see the love between them. So the Midrash understands that good education is based on a good chinuch and a good education. And Yitzchak wouldn't do that unless he was educated to the Kadosh Baruch Hu is everything, and you should listen to everything he says, whatever. And therefore, we know that Avraham ייסר את בנו ולימדו תורה. כיוצא בו, יצחק היה משחר ומוסר ליעקב, שלימדו יצחק תורה ויסרו בבית תלמודו. That's, as I said before, Yitzchak is very weak, and it's interesting, שנאמר ויעקב ישתם. So the Midrash understands that Yaakov is not just Ishtam by himself. Yaakov is Ishtam out of his education from his father. ולימד מה שלימדו אביו, אחריו פירש מאביו, ונטמן בבית עבר ללמוד תורה, לפיכך זכה לברכה וירש את הארץ, שנאמר וישב יעקב בארץ מגורי אביו בארץ כנען. אוקיי. ואף יעקב ייסר את בניו ורדע אותם. ולימדם דרכיו שלא היה בהם פסולת. Okay, what we last week we questioned a lot about the criticisms that Yaakov gives in his will to Reuven, to Shimon v'Levi. How is it possible that the father talks to the tribes who weren't so bad in such a way that he leaves such a bitter taste of criticism? But here you see that's a maila. That's one of the maila that he had, that he tortured them, and ולימדם דרכיו שלא היה בהם פסולת. So the Midrash takes it and understands that the smichut between the beginning of Sefer Shemot and the Perek Memtet, almost the end of Sefer Bereshit, says the same thing, that the Yaakov, since he gave them such a big shmuz, samuch to his death, that's why שכן כתיב ואלה שמות בני ישראל הבאים מצרימה הושבו כולם ליעקב שכולם צדיקים כיוצא בו היו הווה אומר ואוהבו שחור מוסר. So all the big talking about the חינוך of שונא חוסך שבטו שונא בנו ואוהבו שחור מוסר, going to say that Abraham well-educated Yitzchak, Yitzchak educated well Yaakov, and Yaakov educated well his sons, and it's paid off at the beginning of Sefer Shemot, because we have the equality between Bnei Israel and their father, Israel, Yaakov, whatever, that were kulam tzaddikim because of the good shmuz. Okay, so we see.
Except that this goes counter to contemporary attitudes.
Right.
In fact, the opposite. The current attitude is saying Gewalt. So that's the interesting idea. So we live in the contemporary world with the contemporary attitudes. How are we supposed to balance something like that off? I mean, and we do see that people who are harsh with their children, and it doesn't work out. It does not really work very well.
Right.
You're saying that if you are harsh, it will work out well. Probably because it's based on love. Probably. But it's just to be harsh, because I don't look good. If you're behaving that way, I don't look good. Your motivation is different. I was just saying.
I think that you're right. That's an issue. You can hit, you can talk, you can give limits, but if you love, so that's a base. And once you do it even softly, but you don't love, and he feels that it comes from your own motivation, how you look, so he understands that it's not well. And I think that even nowadays nobody hits, but a lot of psychologists talk about the loss. There is in Hebrew a book written by a psychologist called Shikum HaSamchut HaHorit. How would I translate it? Recuperating the authority of the parents, because psychologists understand that nowadays when everything is permitted, and I just have, I see a lot of clients or friends that they treat their kids just, are you hungry, and go to the restaurant, buy yourself whatever you want, or like this, without any limitations and without any chovot. So they say that it's not better at all, but it's true what you say, that in our era you have to stress more, not to stress, to really feel it, the love and the caring for the son, from which you come out, and from which you want to do it, not just the peula of hitting, teaching.
This is illegal.
Right. Yeah, right. But we see that it's good that it's illegal. I mean, even in Haredi yeshivas, we don't see, when I was a kid, the more took sargel and gave you on your fingers. Nowadays, nobody does it, even in the most extreme places. And they probably understand that it's good, because they know that some of the sons got out of the way because of it. So they don't go too much, but they don't hit.
They don't hit.
Okay, Shavua Tov, Toda Rabba. And again, we'll start Bezrat Hashem on Bo with
I'll try and make a small notice, Chadash.
Toda Rabba. Yishar Koach.
New lecture. Okay.
Yishar Koach, Shavua Tov.
Thank you.
להתראות, Mr. Fixler. Shalom, shalom.